Welcome back to the desk for the second set of Europe today on week number 5. We've already seen Dig versus Rival. Next up is going to be Obey up against Mousesports.
And look, this is a critical set for Obey. They cannot afford to lose this one if they have any chance of even sniffing the top 2 and coming to land. They would need to win out and get some help in order to make it. I'm pretty sure if they lose this one, they are mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, definitely a rough situation then for the Obey boys here today. But Mouse, on the other hand, had a rough season so far, Aggro.
They have, but it's been a season of experimentation for them, and I expect that may continue. Look, I just hope that we see a little bit cleaner play from them. It's looked a little sloppy for me. Not only with, I mean, the picks are one thing, right? You can do weird stuff, but you have to be able to practice that consistently and make sure you know what you're doing. And it seems to me like Mouse has been dropping the ball in that regard, or the practice they have gotten has just not proved good enough in order to bring it to the pro level play. I think Mouse has potential, but they've got to turn it around pretty soon here. They can't make land, but this is you got to build some momentum going into summer.
We'll get to Mouse again in a second, but first of all, let's just have a little look back at how Obey's season has been so far.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Obey Alliance was one of the top teams last year, and on paper, they should still be. They should be even better than they were last year, if you ask me. iRaffer coming in has done nothing but slow this team down. Now, I'm not blaming iRaffer. I'm not blaming any individual. I don't really care who to blame. Something's got to fix. This is a top team on the bottom of the standings.
And with that one too, I'm going to say, I think from my point of view, it's probably going to be CaptainTwig where the issue's kind of been this split. Main reason for that is the meta has changed. He can't sit back as much. He's got to be an aggressive assassin. It's not worked out for him. We will get to see, though, today for you guys at home, you'll get to have a little look at PrettyPriMe here. And that's going to be the focal point of his view today during the Pro League.
And I agree with you. Twig has struggled, and by extension, it's made Prime struggle as well. Yeah. But it hasn't just been Twig's struggles that have affected PrettyPriMe. His play has just not been up to what we saw all of last year, and that's really surprising because mid laners just get to make such a bigger impact this year in comparison to what they did last year that I really felt like this was going to be a year for Prime to be a top contender among best players in the world, not just best mid laners, but he just hasn't brought it.
It just feels like Obey have kind of just lost what the meta is and what they need to do with this meta. The adjustments just haven't been there for them yet. They're either slightly, I don't think they're going to stay this way. Like, no. I do think that Obey will catch up and go, oh, this is what we do. And they're just taking a long time to adapt to that.
And they were the ones who got off to a great start last year during their time in Season 4. Obey had a ton of success there. They win the Spring LAN. So there's a team that kind of latches on very quickly at times, but if it doesn't fit exactly what they want to do, I think that they can struggle. And that's, in my estimation, what we've seen so far, is that this meta just doesn't fit them as well as, say, Season 4's did.
Well, that's all about Obey, but I guess it's time to see how Mouse have been doing with their start in the Pro League.
Mouse is a team whose standings are deceptive. When you look at the roster and you look at what they've been able to do, you say, hey, how come this team hasn't found any more wins? I think the answer to that is perhaps Jermain. Where has this guy been? When he steps up, and that combines with the creativity of Mouse, they look like they're on fire. But right now, they need a little bit more.
Messy is what I will call this team in terms of, I think they're trying too much, too often. Too many jank picks going on in terms of the unusual that, yeah, sure, put them together like a jigsaw puzzle, it'll work. It's not working.
That, and I just feel like the picks that they have done and where I think it will really work out, it just hasn't done it so far for me. And Tom mentions Jermain in that clip. He has certainly been lackluster so far here in Season 5, but a lot of that is kind of meta-dependent. Hunter's just not the guys anymore. BigManTingz deserves a ton of credit. I was not a believer in this guy moving to the mid lane coming into Season 5. He has proven me and a lot of other people wrong. His play has been really, really solid so far. But Dardez has been playing this weird stuff. Cherryo has not looked good so far, kind of following that same sort of meta change that CaptainTwig is right now in the jungle. And Nika as well has not had a very good season. So I really feel like part of it is the picks, but part of it is just players aren't performing.
Well, Cherryo, you're going to get a closer look at today in Mixer. You're going to be able to watch him live throughout the whole of this set to see how his performance is. Maybe this is the boon he needed of people wanting to see him play. See if he can turn things around for his team. But I think you're completely right. It's caused a lot of issues for this team. I want to see a little bit more, it sounds weird to say, but standard from this team. They're just going a little bit too far outside the box every time.
And I think that comes with the idea that, well, we're not winning, so we can't just pick what everyone else is doing, so we better just throw something weird at them and hope we catch them off guard. I mean, Mousesports won their first set of the year, 2-0 if I remember correctly, and then has lost every other one. They've been 2-0 every other set except that first one, it looks like.
Into picks and bans we go then. Obey will be first pick, Mouse second pick. Mouse will ban away the Toth and Achilles off the table from Obey. Obey with the option here to ban something they don't want to deal with because you want to leave a lot of options available. The likes of the Giannis, the likes of the Nemesis, all those good sort of gods.
Terra's a pretty good selection for them to ban away. iRaffer, very good Terra player, so a little surprised that Obey don't leave that open and force Mouse into a spot where they're either giving up Terra or giving up Giannis. But this leaves Nemesis open for Obey, but instead, Nuwa first pick. And now, I mean, is Cherryo really a Nemesis player? Not really. We haven't seen a lot of that from him, so maybe they're just hedging their bets and saying maybe Mouse won't pick it.
And Discordia could be in mid lane, could be support. Be careful. I'm not going to go too much more in detail than that just yet. Sobek could be support, could be solo.
Could be jungle.
This is Mouse. You just don't know. That's the big.
I told
big
F. last week that I refuse to predict where anyone goes on Mousesports ever the rest of the year.
Obey have drafted both Nuwa and Raijin, which screams to me it's going to be the Nuwa and the Hunter role, which we've seen a couple of times, more so from Energy than anybody else. And Cerberus locked in, given over to more than likely Xaliea in that solo lane.
I just wonder why Obey picks the Raijin so early on. Is Mouse really going to be that onto it? That not only are they going to ban away mid laners, but Raijin in particular? I mean, I know Prime still loves the drum, but still.
It feels like Obey is trying to protect Twig. That's what it kind of feels like to me. Like they're trying to protect Twig's pick so we can pick the right optimal god for the situation required.
Yeah, but they aren't prioritizing it, and so one of them, the Daji, gets banned away, but Nemesis still on the table here. Yeah.
But Nemesis up against this lineup, it could be a bit awkward. Discordia has a good escapability for the most part. Circuit, great at shutting people down too. A Chiron. Oh.
Good. Yeah, interesting.
Did Ataraxia change teams?
Yeah, exactly. These could very well be flipped right now if you just looked at the drafts. The Chiron really here for the cleanse potentially against that Cerberus ultimate. Cerberus ultimate has a little bit of a wind up. You can lay down that training exercise and cleanse that away.
You're never going to use that cleanse like that.
We see it all the time in pro-level play.
I don't see it used that much. I don't think the cleanse is really that big of a thing on Chiron. One thing he does bring is he's very ability-focused and has long range to make an impact. Hunbats, though, for Obey, the final pick, and as I expected, they kind of left it till last to see what'll fit against it. I think they're trying to make sure the matchup for the jungle is specific for CaptainTwig.
Guardian. A Guardian locked
2 Guardians.
in. Well, yeah, but the Sobek was going to solo lane. We all kind of knew that. But
Ganesh mid, Discordia support.
I could honestly see Discordia. Well, okay. I could definitely see Cherryo or Dardez playing the Circuit. Chiron jungle, maybe.
I hope not. Maybe this is the first time we see Mouse go standard here. Who's your money on?
Man, every time I'm like, obviously Obey. But then I think about the way Obey is played. I'm still going to go Obey, but I don't feel confident in it.
Well, let's find out what the casters have to say. It's F. and it's on out totally.
Thanks a lot, guys. Obey versus Mouse here, and this one's going to be interesting. Hey, no, I'm sorry. Really disagree. I think Chiron is here for the cleanse. I think it's a huge deal. Cerberus, and then the Hunbats picked later.
That's true.
I think the Chiron's going to come in clutch here. Big deal about that cleanse.
The blinking gauge is very just, it's like seeing it a mile away. So you have plenty of time to drop that cleanse. And honestly, between Obey and already Mousesports in week number 2, Mousesports fell last time. Can we see it again?
Possibly. If you're out there in Mixer Chat, let us know who you think is going to be the victor. We've got Obey and Mouse last time around. We said Obey took the win.
That's right, 2-0.
And so we'll see if they're able to repeat that one more time. We'll get to game 1 in just a moment. And here watching this draft, yes, Mouse is actually going to go pretty standard. Dardez on the traditional support. Look at that.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It's like they actually are trying to win this time around.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly, and I almost take exception to that. I think that Mousesports has been, I think the majority of Mousesports has been trying the entire time. I think that sometimes you got to play to your strengths. Sometimes you got to try things a little bit differently. Raijin being played by Ataraxia.
Okay. That's a little different. I mean, to be fair, New WoW was being played a lot by hunters, so this time around, the Drum will not go to the PP.
I actually really prefer. I prefer the Ryzen in the hunter role rather than the new one.
Really? Why is that?
Longer range. That's why. I get the fog. Sure, it's one of the longest range steals, but with chain lightning and the
how are you going to outrange fire shards?
Stop. Stop.
You talking about range here?
Talking about clearing the wave safely.
We're talking about range here, Tom. We're talking about range.
Oh my goodness.
It's range.
It's the game hadn't even started before Tolly did.
I'm always here, baby.
Either way, I like the range that Ataraxia has here on the drum. Going to be able to find the opposition damage by way of the chain lightning.
The thing is, though, normally you want to pick a safer god in mid, and Ataraxia playing the Raijin is going to be more safe than PrettyPriMe in the early game playing the new WoW. That this joint here, Ataraxia has that leap / disjoint, and that could easily save him from some of these ganks. Cherryo could be looking to play hyper aggressive with the Circuit. Didn't go for the blink at level 1, but still has a lot of gap closing abilities to find the early ganks.
Absolutely. We'll see if Cherryo decides to go very aggressive. He has historically been a little bit more calculated in his gameplay.
Cherryo making the early rotation here for blue buff, and normally with such an aggressive jungler, you're sometimes looking at the dual lane trying to shut them down, especially when you're up against an unconventional hunter, but not this time around.
He didn't finish the blue buff, it looks like. It looks like the small camps might have been, the small guys might have been taken, and the big boy was left for Nika.
No, so this is kind of like Order versus Chaos side and Spectator.
I'm sorry.
Where Order side you will see the buff drop, whereas Chaos side you will not.
Mousesports here on the left side trying to combat into the jank from Obey Alliance. And I like the Ryzen. He's always brought good clear, but I am partial to this Chiron selection. I think that he has been overlooked here. With Transcendence and Crusher being very, very strong. He has natural sustain. The Poultice is going to be able to heal him and his allies up. He starts hitting very, very hard in the late game. I mean, there's just a lot that Chiron brings to the table that I think people have either forgotten about or moved in a different direction from.
And you were talking about range for Ataraxia, while Jermain, playing an unconventional Chiron for himself, also has a lot of range with his ultimate, and then just that masterful shot. Always going to find the slows afterwards, and a lot of his teammates can easily chase down those targets.
Chiron is just a lovely pick in a meta that allows him to exist, and, well, he's going to be able to do that item-wise. And he really flexes in the mid game, where I think hunters kind of shine outside of their late game rhetoric.
iRaffer level 2 already transformed, looking for the dash against Jermain, but took probably more damage than he bargained for. Started off with that upgraded sprint, whereas on the flip side, Dardez going for that early shell here that looks to be upgraded.
Yeah, it is the upgraded version, so he'll be able to take a couple of in-hands from whoever winds up going for the attacks.
Oh no, it's only going to be 2 out of 3 there. It's because it's so blue there that it makes it look like there's 3 little bars underneath.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it was only 2.
Wow, we're 0 for 2 so far.
0 for 2.
Starting things off correct. Sorry, folks. We'll try to reel it in for you guys.
It really looks like there's 3 sometimes.
Either way, right side, we haven't talked about these guys yet. Xaliea on the dog, Nika on the croc. Who has the upper hand here?
In this matchup, it's just a farming game. I think that there will be an advantage for Xaliea, however, once he does get Ghastly Breath finished up a little bit. That protection shred cannot be denied. But Nika has 2 options to cancel that out. You are not knock-up immune during Ghastly Breath, so that's going to happen every single time you tail flip. So not going to be able to stack up the protection shred of Xaliea.
And also, he's going to be able to... Well, Xaliea is going to be able to snatch away some of the sickening strike healing, right?
That's true. There is a little bit of stealing from the healing department out of the Cerberus, as well as reducing that healing. So both Guardians here having some anti-healing in their kit.
Xaliea building likely to be aggressive. You can see actually interesting start from him. This is not a standard solo lane start whatsoever.
Definitely not, because the tier 1 version of the Void Stone is 600 gold. Dual lane, an early action here. Rotation from CaptainTwig.
And Jermain gonna use the dash to try and get away, but the overhand smash gonna do some damage. One more shot will confirm. And CaptainTwig just chases down the Hunter.
Dardez could have been forward a little bit further, trying to body block CaptainTwig. Unconventional style of a support. Normally, you're the one that wants to bite the bullet for your teammate. It was a beautifully timed shell, but could have been a little bit closer to the action.
Yeah, just a little bit too far out. Dardez will live, his Hunter won't. So Jermain starts this one off down a little bit. Half a level lead for iRaffer and Ataraxia off of the jungle invade.
And with that, Obey Alliance looking pretty here, considering that first blood went to CaptainTwig. The Hun Bats needs to get off to a good start against an aggressive Circuit. You can't fall behind too early here, but despite finding that kill, just now hitting level 6, whereas Cherryo was level 6 for about 30 seconds.
Could make a play here on the right side as well, but Nika will spot out the monkey, so CaptainTwig walks away no problem. Could have been a nice look.
Could have been. So far, the mid laners have been quietly farming away, going for a different style. BigManTingz probably wanting to rush that Warlock staff, but not going to be the case for PrettyPriMe. I think he's going for a cooldown reduction route.
Yeah, PrettyPriMe on the new wants to look for multiple ultimates. CaptainTwig silenced away from his jump and just waits.
Cherryo off the mark with the Deathbane. He was thinking about ambushing over, but he had no more cooldowns. He used the Cobra's Kiss.
Exactly.
He used the Zigzag Deathbane. Didn't want to commit with just the last breath.
Here comes Raijin looking for the red buff, and the mage will get it. This time the Hunter mage, though. The long lane Raijin. Cherryo making his rotation into the enemy jungle, just trying to check out what's going on there. Make sure to drop some vision.
Xaliea already finishing off that Void Stone in the solo lane here. Not really winning the trades because of a lack of the health chalice stacks. Nika's able to really abuse that factor, even starting with teleport as both of those solo laners. So the longer this goes, the more favorable it will be for Nika. Has more mobility, so once he does clear the waves, he'll out-rotate Xaliea into any sort of mid-team fights.
I personally never mind the first item non-boots for the solo laners. You're usually not making these rotations at 8-9 minutes, so you can sort of forgo those boots in one sense of the phrase, right?
I agree with you there. If he was looking for more survivability here in the laning phase against the Circuit, just rush Warlock Staff. Honestly, you want to get that health. Voidstone is only going to help you against Nika at the end of the day. It's not going to help any against Last Breath. It does give you 150 health or so, so I guess there's that.
You're also protecting yourself against BigManTingz later on. This Voidstone is an item that we see, I'd say, maybe like half of the time and very infrequently this early on, so it's an interesting look from Xaliea, a player who's always had marched to the beat of his own drum pretty much.
That's true. He always plays these wonky picks in the soul lane. You know, Isis and Jean Quiz of yesteryears when he was back in his Paradigm days.
I always remember the Bakasura going all the way back.
That's true. Yeah, he did like his Bakasura. And it wasn't kind of a similar style to most other Bakasura solo laners.
Yeah, he always used to look for the invades and everything. Xaliea previously playing on that old TSM team, right? That won the launch tournament?
No, that was Game Hunter.
Ah, that was Game Hunter, yeah. Xaliea came a little bit later after that, but still played with the boys. Fun stuff watching Xaliea over the years because he definitely was the leader of that European jank style solo
I think he
lane.
was on the Cloud9 roster back then.
That's where he was.
With Suntouch and
Young Bay came through later on.
Young Bay was on the TSM squad. Yeah, they swapped Hunters. Yeah, that's what it was.
They made the Hunter trade.
Yep.
With Smek. I missed that dude.
Yep.
You know who else I missed, which was part of that Cloud9 team? That's Sayo.
Oh, yeah.
Sayo was a wonderful ISIS player back in the day.
He also played a lot of Nanjan middle with the red pot.
He did. And looking at the players, coming from that era, it's amazing to me how many are still here. Talking about Xaliea, PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia were kind of from that, not the launch tournament days, but right after that, building up on that Aquila team, which later became Titan, and basically is still the remnants from there. iRaffer built up another team from the ground up, Panthera, which later became the World Championship team. CaptainTwig on the right side, he's been here for the long ride as well. Looking for the short one, but not gonna find the mark. Will BigManTingz. The ultimate goes unchecked, and so a lot of damage for no kills so far. Obey Alliance still the only team on the board with one, and it came earlier.
Just a lot of up and down potential here between these two teams, looking for the damage, but just could not secure it whatsoever. Going in the fire showers for PrettyPriMe. Bought him a lot of time to disengage. If BigManTingz connects on that golden apple of Discordia, he's going to find the cripple in the spread, and really unfortunately, he couldn't really find the bounces, and both soul laners just a step too slow to be able to make an impact in that team fight. At level 9 and 10 for Guardians, they don't clear the soul lane as fast as you would prefer, so it takes them a little bit more time to travel the minimap.
And now you see the boots online for Xaliea. Interesting. Nika just going the same build, now in a different order.
Yep.
But at this point in time, it's effectively the same exact thing.
Looking at the net worth, though, they're basically actually slightly ahead of Xaliea. I was about to say that I thought they were about to be even, but after this wave, then yeah, they're ahead.
Yeah, wave to wave, these two solo laners are tied up. A little bit of experience lead for Nika, however, on the Croc. Able to make a little bit better use of his time here in the short lane.
Still doing a good job as both of them here. And I think both of them are going to make huge impacts in these team fights. The question is going to remain is, what direction is Xaliea going to go with this second relic? Because Blink Cerberus is pretty strong, obviously, for the Stygian Torment, but if you don't get Thorns, now Jermain might be left a little bit unchecked in some of these team fights. So finding that balance equation is going to be important for the soul lane out of Obey.
For me, I'm really looking at Dardez here on the Ganesh. I think he's going to be a key point for this squad. Shutting down the initiation from the Hun Bats, if he's quick enough off of the blink or the jump, he's able to silence him out. The team can collapse before he launches the ultimate, making sure to shut down the channeled ability that is the breath coming out from the soul lane, as well as the channeled ability that is what Ataraxia is going to be bringing out as well. I think this Ganesh selection was fantastic, and to that is why I think it fits in with what Mouse tried to do. There's the ultimate out of the jungler. Trying to isolate Dardez. Knocked up, knocked down. iRaffer on the support. Cucullin finds the kill.
A lot of damage there from that Cucullin support. Now keep in mind here, just now Dardez finishing off that Gauntlet of Thebes was sitting only at the tier 2 version of it during that little scuffle. Jermain feeling himself will bait out Ataraxia slightly. And because of that tier 2 Gauntlet of Thebes, Dardez couldn't finish it because of the Chalice of the Oracle that he invested into. Sure. And on the flip side, iRaffer with the Sovereignty, he's going for an earlier power spike play to enable his team to make those kinds of early plays.
Right. I mean, this is classic iRaffer. This is what he looks to do. He makes the plays early and often. Whereas across the way, Ganesh, kind of a different type of character. And I want to highlight this because everybody's, oh wow, Mouse picked normally. It's a normal draft from them. This is just as normal for Mouse as the other jank is, because when Mouse pick weird selections, they don't just pick weird selections out of nowhere. It's usually a specific matchup or a very niche strategy that you look for. When they picked the Agni support, they were looking for long-range initiation because they didn't really have it against characters that could sit a long way in the background. So this is Mouse just doing the exact same thing and coming up with a draft that looks normal.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, they're still looking for those interactions, and that's why I've sat here positive about Mouse despite their losing record.
They do have those small little nuances that a lot of other teams don't really necessarily either consider or aren't confident enough to execute themselves. So that's why Jermain piloting the Chiron, which is a great pick, by the way, in general. Remember, Season 2 Worlds,
Chiron mid.
Epsilon, yeah. Yaman was playing that very consistently, really enabled by adapting his aggression. So as long as Jermain is there, once Cherryo, Nika, or Dardez go in, he's going to be doing all the damage. And Chiron only got better since Season 2 with the addition of Transcendence buff and the Crusher.
Crusher as well. Absolutely, totally. You hit the nail on the head there with the item interaction. And, like you said, the way he cleanses. This is a very Mouse draft as quote-unquote normal as it looks. This is extremely Mouse. They look for those small interactions. And that's what I really enjoy about the game. I always look for those small intricacies. Oh, you have an Aphrodite? Bring out the outplash.
Sometimes you just got to do it to him. And go for that, not necessarily anti-healing. There's also other ways to limit that healing. You got the Curse Donk now in Season 5 to
huge item.
Not only mitigate the healing, but amplify the damage that you deal after an enemy heals. Or you have other things like the Outplash third ability, which will stun targets that get consistently healed.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Actually, Outplash, just for conversation's sake, fantastic against Chiron. because he can't control his heal.
That's true. As long as he uses his abilities, he will heal passively.
Always be healing. That's kind of Chiron's claim to fame. So he's going to have a little bit of sustain. But still, even with that sustain, Ataraxia has been able to find the victory in lane so far. iRaffer forced into the ultimate, but here comes help from CaptainTwig.
Oh, wow.
Canceled the ult.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a delay depending on where you place it. If you place it right in front of your feet, it has a faster deploy time than if you place it as far as possible. And that was the direction that Twig really wanted to, because he wanted to make sure that the pillar was going to be on the opposite side of whoever he was targeting to bring the enemies closer towards him and his teammates.
Yeah, it was actually a win for CaptainTwig getting his ultimate canceled there, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
He wanted to use that ultimate defensively. Mousesports said no, and CaptainTwig said okay.
Because if that happened even a quarter sec, if the ultimate goes off and then strike goes off at the same time, well, now you're madness effect, and you can't even use any abilities anyway.
Exactly. Gold Fury started and almost finished by Mouse. Very quick. They were to deal that damage. Brought it down to 20%. And totally, again, I love the call. They collapse, they go for it, and as soon as they realize Obey are here, they walk right away. No thinking, no waffling, just going right for it. Obey Alliance left side, CaptainTwig trying to do the same.
Wow.
Capitalizing off of the ultimate is Ataraxia. Cherryo a step too late, tosses the madness, but he's going to come up empty-handed. Nice stuff coming out from Obey.
Definitely thankful that CaptainTwig having his ultimate for that one. Left side, not even able to get off his Aegis in time. Jermain just taking a very early spill. Now we'll finish off. That Crusher is going to do significantly more damage, and that's the advantage here of this Ryzen Nuwa combination. Now keep in mind, that was a great bait from Mousesports on the Gold Fury, because they baited out both of those magical ultimates here between the Fire Shard spotting everybody out, between also the Ryzen just being used for no reason, and the reset. It still didn't stop Obey from being aggressive.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, like I said, like you said, it actually gave them the benefit. I mean, it canceled out his ultimate, and he said, look, I wanted to use that to get out of problems. I'm already out of the problem. Now I can use it to cause some problems. And he just walks over to the left side and winds up helping his team get a kill. Really smooth stuff.
Oracle's getting split one down the middle. Here's Cherryo now in a 1v1 against Twig, trying to chase him down, but gets juked back and around. PrettyPriMe will continue this chase, however. His ultimate is up.
And I like the drop of the ward as well there, coming out from, that was a Cherryo ward, making sure that he wasn't going to be chased out there. Nice stuff.
Trying to find some more aggression here. So Obey Alliance just kind of waiting things out currently. The both soul laners kind of waiting it out as the Breastplate of Valor is completed. They got their magical, they got their physical defense. Now they got to opt for a little bit more health if they want to survive. Sprint on the side of Nika, trying to chase down targets, where Xaliea going for the blinking gauges.
So what would you like to see? Even with the changes, I kind of want to see the Gaia versus the Sobek. I think it's such a strong choice.
Both are good, honestly. The knock-ups between not only Nika's Sobek, but Dardez's Ganesha, he will knock you up.
Chiron as well.
Yeah, Chiron as well. I like the Gaia still, but I just like Guardian Mail more.
Yeah.
Personally, with the changes there.
Right now, Gold Fury already down to 40%. Mouse tried this before. Last time they retreated. Now looks like they're looking for a team fight. Blinking forward. Gold Fury leashed out. Would have liked to see them stick on it, but Mouse playing this one careful as they're already 2k down.
Too many missed abilities from Mousesports, so they're going to disengage. Strife was off the mark. The Blink Cobra's Kiss not connecting from Cherryo, and that was a huge wash. Despite the great pluck from Nika that was onto the half-health target from iRaffer, they just didn't want to really commit to the tanky could call. And it's not that tanky quite yet. He does have sovereignty, but only 6 stacks of the Gauntlet of Thebes, and that's where Dardez's build will outweigh iRaffer. Is the team fights happening here at the 19-minute mark?
Right. Earlier, iRaffer was able to get off to a nice start because of his build, but will suffer a little bit here in the mid-game because of it. So it's always the trade-off. Obey Alliance should understand that and look to play a little bit safer here for the next couple of minutes while iRaffer does get those stacks online, eventually building up to the aura. So Mousesports here, making sure that Obey aren't too comfortable on that objective. Which
is very easy for Obey Alliance to do, to play defensively here. Fire Shards revealing every member from Mousesports on a very short cooldown with Chronos Pendant and the Mage's Blessing. I'm expecting Obey to just kind of chill and farm back. Almost done stacking his Ataraxia, 79 stacks on the Warlocks. So iRaffer just getting off a little bit of poke, not wanting to obviously commit that.
Uh-oh. Well, iRaffer in some trouble now. Has to use the ultimate. Ataraxia trying to protect his support, and he will do so. The ultimate's good. No! Cherryo's poison.
Just too strong.
The last tick takes down iRaffer.
Oh, Twig now blinking in here, getting revenge. Actually forcing the Aegis from Jermain will survive that encounter. No more ultimates remaining from Obey Alliance, but losing the support member, Mousesports can't really get anything off of that. They're a little low. They did have to back. Maybe there's a small window, though, with them be returning here healthy that they can sneak this Gold Fury.
Discordia so close, but misses the apple. Can't find the ultimate, so it's going to save the target for another second. Mousesports now pushed back into their own jungle. Trouble as Obey Alliance trying to make this one happen.
Nika gonna get stunned out there. Very interesting interaction here with Discordia passive, just to see who's on the top player damage for their team. It will be the Nika on the Sobek, which is not really the target you want to get a benefit from all that magical power.
Now, is that something that you will actually think about in the game? Like, if you're playing in a game with Discordia, do you do less damage in that solo lane?
It depends if that's the goal of the team. It's definitely worth communicating about before you enter the match. Absolutely.
Right now, Gold Fury was being aggressed on by Obey. Mouse trying to stop him. They'll do just that. Obey Alliance start packing, start walking away. 20 minutes in, we're just underneath 21. We've got 4 kills in total. Obey Alliance with 3. Mousesports with 1.
Just still trying to look for the holes to poke into before either of these teams go for the Gold Fury. Very close and evenly matched, it seems, for at least game number 1. Despite week 2, Obey Alliance look very strong here against Mousesports, finding a pretty clean 2-0 victory. And still, going through the early transitional phase with iRaffer in week 2. Now he's been on the team for a little bit longer. More synergy and more just dynamic aspects from this support player in Obey.
For now, I think that it's funny that you mentioned the support position specifically, because I think that Dardez has been the standout player on Mousesports, and it hasn't been close for watching them. Even in their losses, Dardez has really stepped up. This is a guy that if this is a minor league team, gets called by a pro league team. I mean, Dardez has looked so fantastic on his unique picks, his meta picks. Right now, Mouse trying to find a pick in the mid lane. I think the ultimate went off, and it did. CaptainTwig falls down. Nice job by Cherryo trying to get his team back in this one.
It was just covering the option there, but then he got covered afterwards. Cherryo, great reaction time. Being able to beat away from the Fear No Evil and instantly turning it on its head as CaptainTwig still down for 35 seconds. Mousesports feeling confident of 5-on-4. Try to bully out Obey from the Gold Fury zone before they start pulling it.
Exactly. This is, if Mouse go head-to-head in a team fight, it's not the worst thing in the world. Things are tied now. But they were trying to avoid that earlier on when they were down. There's iRaffer getting plucked in the middle, and PrettyPriMe is going to take care of the Circuit before everything starts off. Dardez in the backline has to escape, and Chiron trying to slow down Xaliea. There he is with the last shot, the masterful from a distance. And Jermain takes this one and turns it into a 2-for-1 trade. Mouse on the good side because of the Hunter.
That's true. It was a 4-on-5, however, now with CaptainTwig reviving. As long as iRaffer can keep the members of Mouse a little bit busy, that should be a nice opportunity for Obey Alliance to actually rotate here and maybe get a Gold Fury for themselves.
I think that, yeah, this is the smart retreat from Obey. I think this is a nobody's game. Everybody loses after that team fight. So Mousesports are able to keep the game within striking distance, about 1,000 gold or a little bit separating the two teams. But this is a position that they'd like to be in.
It looked good originally for Mousesports because they were kind of like that the O-line that made holes for their running back to kind of walk through and then pulled the Gold Fury. But then all of a sudden, that random guy out of nowhere filled that hole and could not find the clear lane as Mousesports still getting deterred from this objective with just one fire shard.
Yeah, and PrettyPriMe, no surprises when you're playing against a new love that use of the ultimate there. Like to call it the satellite ult, just bringing the information to the squad. Where are they? Are they trying that Gold Fury again? PrettyPriMe ult. Yeah, they are. Somebody go walk by it so they stop.
I mean, with all the vision that Mousesports has around the Gold Fury, it doesn't shock me that they're going for it. They have a Sentry Ward right in front, even a Sentry Ward right above their original one. So they're able to see that regular ward underneath, so they can spot out those rotations happening from a mile away.
And I like how intense that Mouse is. I like that they keep going back to the Gold Fury. And I don't even mind them retreating from it because they're dancing on that line, right? If Obey Lions take that gold, that could be devastating for Mouse. So not willing to fight into it. I guess you could call it a lack of confidence in one way, but I tend to look at it the other direction, Tully, and just say they're playing careful, and I don't mind that.
No, it's definitely going to be a waiting game between both of these teams. The late game power is available. Here's CaptainTwig, gets the monkey bounces around, does not want to teleport to it quite yet. Clay Golems was released from PrettyPriMe. With that one cooldown not available, Mousesports could easily feel confident enough to allow Nika to look for those plucks.
Well, here's the important part. Obey just getting rid of a lot of what Mouse had as far as the vision is concerned. Right there in front of the Gold Fury, Obey will drop their own ward.
Mad Guy's Cloak is so important for these players here. Xalia's definitely not going to want to get Circuit Ultimate any single time. Whereas on the flip side, Nika does not want to get pulled into a rough, sticky situation.
Oh, yeah. Nasty stuff coming from both sides of the solo lane. Objectives still being pinged out. Mid laners over there. Just avoiding any sense of being ganked. That would be the scariest part, I think, is if you're able to get that random pick, because that's where everything sort of opens up.
Oh, look at Nika. Look at Nika. He's going to disrupt a little bit of the disengage from Ataraxia, but he misses the pluck.
And that's the problem. Now he's stuck behind enemy lines, and enemies just crushing Nika. There's the ultimate from iRaffer. One from Nesh as well. Just close the gap. What was CaptainTwig?
Way off the
nowhere.
mark. Way off the mark. He was trying to go for Nika there, but cannot cut the distance fast enough, even with the blink. A beautiful silence here from Dardez prevents the overhand smash. Clean disengage from Mousesports, which definitely should have been a kill onto Nika.
I mean, yeah, it definitely should have. Just poor, what do you call that? The totem? Poor ultimate placement from CaptainTwig. Just a rare misstep for the veteran jungler.
Ooh, off the mark yet again onto Ataraxia, but forcing him to at least run away for the moment, sitting at about 60% health. Obey Alliance are still playing defensively around this objective. They're trying to bait Mousesports to do it for themselves to try to steal it away.
Exactly. Looking for more of the steals and the actual ownership of it, I think, was Obey. Meanwhile, this whole time, Cherryo's just been split pushing.
Sometimes if there's no action in the Gold Fury side, you might as well invest your time more usefully. Go for that tier 1 tower, at least get 500 gold.
Exactly. You pick something up, just consolation prize, right?
Gonna get it. Get the positioning as well. Making it more difficult for Obey to retreat if things do go a little sour around the left side jungle.
I like this play. Mouse already having a 25, zoning efficiently. Here comes Obey, and they're way too late. Mouse get the Gold Fury that they've been asking for 27 minutes. They've tried pulling this Gold Fury since the beginning of the game.
Spawns at 5 minutes, Tom.
You know what, Tully? They were thinking about it in minute 1.
They were thinking about it before the game even loaded, Tom.
That's what I'm saying.
That's negative minutes.
Tully, what are negative minutes?
It's minutes prior to when the game starts. Negative minutes.
Thanks,
The
Tully.
planning phase. You know how you load into a ranked lobby? Before the banning phase, there's the planning phase.
So are those negative minutes?
Yes.
Do those then become positive?
Usually it does, but not in this case.
Why not?
Because
Don't tutor math, okay? Just do me a favor. And
this is not your logical statement here, Tom. This is the irrational statements.
E with an E?
Capital E.
Mousesports trying to take position over here on the right side. Looking for likely the Pyromancer before the portal, or excuse me, before the Fire Giant. Teams usually like to just get that one out of the way. Grouping here on the right side. Expect the same song and dance that we saw over by the Gold Fury. Repeated pulls, a couple of different plays.
Almost that happens. Forcing some relics as well. CaptainTwig trying to kill Dardez.
And totally, Xaliea is going to be the one that takes care of Dardez. And Mousesports kind of let that one happen. That was an awkward engagement coming out from CaptainTwig, but it worked nonetheless. So Obey Alliance are going to take their 5-4 lead. And now look for the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. And the Pyroman.
They should be able to secure it here. iRaffer getting off the Warcry before he de-transforms. Blinking in the backline is Cherryo, but he still had the Mad Guy's Cloak to help him disengage. Still holding on to those beats.
And now the Pyromancer going to be about half HP so far. A little bit lower. Coming in is going to be the Monkey. And Obey look like they're going to be able to clean that one up. Pyro does go the way of Obey. Mousesports trying to fight into this one on the backhand. Cherryo on the top end. Cherryo. He's going to grab one, but CaptainTwig goes down. Nika falls down to the hand of Ataraxia. Right side. iRaffer trying to escape.
Xaliea was chasing down BMT there earlier on, but not going to find that kill whatsoever. Jermain trying to find the kills here, but a nice blink there. Great rotation from Xaliea, enabling PrettyPriMe to find the kill. The shred of the ghastly breath, even more damage on the fire shards.
Just bringing out the protection shred and the damage. Here comes Ataraxia trying to take on Cherryo. And the static jump.
Just couldn't really disrupt all of that DPS fast enough with a Cobra's Kiss. Great use of covering the option there. Ataraxia knew that the only safe spot was him to ambush over those back Harpies, and caught between a rock and a hard place. 3 for 1 at the end of the day. Obey Alliance walking away like bandits.
Just be able to get right on out of there. That's been their calling card so far. Obey Alliance about 3,000 gold above Mousesports, and now the beginning of a footing to allow Obey to climb the mountain.
I love the Shaman's Ring from Ataraxia that's already been fully stacked up. You only need to do about 5,000 damage to do that. And with this, he's going to just augment the rest of his abilities. And considering that it comes in waves, the damage from Raijin, you're basically enabling the rest of your kit to do significantly more damage.
Very, very true. Plus the 100 power on this is a really interesting item. I like to see it picked up because it is competitive with the other 100 power options. Obey Alliance started the Fire Giant, peeling off, looking instead for the fight. Beautiful Fear No Evil. Kate's 2 people, shoves him in the corner. CaptainTwig trying to escape here. Ataraxia using the built-in blink to avoid some of the spread. But now Cherryo on the offensive. 2 for the money.
Gonna find even more if he can get Xaliea here. No last breath available to him. Just a great counter engage. The ultimate from Xaliea just didn't connect onto anybody, and CaptainTwig did hit 2 members, but it wasn't in the right positioning that he would have wanted. So I would have said 2 ultimates became the effectiveness of 0.5.
I feel that. I hard agree with you. Absolutely. It took me a second to get there, but I got there. And I see where you're going with it. With the CaptainTwig ultimate, I liked it, despite the fact that it chased the members away. It chased them away in the same corridor. So had Ataraxia had the ultimate, it still would have been fine to just drop the drums. But a little bit of range, I think, was
There's
the
the
problem.
cleanse. There's the cleanse from Jermain, stopping the Stygian Torment.
Big plays there. It's why this character was selected. Just eliminated the ultimate. Now iRaffer playing big into this one. He's going to get pushed on out. Mousesports still trailing. Nope. Make that about tied here.
Oh, still going in here, feeling frisky, but jumping away from the strife. Great disengage from Xaliea thus far, keeping the game still close as neither team going to try to poke their head around the Fire Giant quite yet.
Man, this Mousesports draft is really coming to fruition here. We saw the cleanse from Jermain right there. Dardez has been able to shut down a lot of what Xalia's brought. Look at the player damage so far. Xaliea on the server is usually a lot higher. Only 12,000, even with his fellow solo laner, because of the ability from the Ganesh to really shut that breath down.
But he's been able to just allow Ataraxia to do even more damage on this level 20 Raijin that finally does have the full build. The Ghastly Breath will enable more damage from not only him, but PrettyPriMe as well. That's sitting at 25,000, top of the player damage for not only his team, but the whole entire game.
Yeah, Ataraxia here. This is a character, Raijin is a character that these guys love to play. PrettyPriMe particularly, but I mean, I imagine what PrettyPriMe likes, he tells the squad, right?
Yeah, he likes Vulcan and Raijin.
Yep. And being able to identify, why he likes the Raijin. Well, he might have to play in his mind this Nuwa, but his hunter can play a mage, of course.
There's always those go-to gods that you have to have in the back of your mind where there's always a specific meta. Right now in Season 5, the meta is honestly Giannis or Thoth for mid. Mm-hmm. But having these backup gods, such as the Nuwa, such as the Discordia, and even the Raijin, can just help you go that much further because you might not necessarily be scrimming or practicing against a lot of these other gods. iRaffer, though, he's going to get caught out.
And, oh, caught out he will be. There he gets plucked and pulled and pushed and just punished. Jermain takes care of that one off of the assist of, well, everybody. The entirety of Mousesports shows up to put iRaffer down.
I think
2 deaths in total so far.
I think he just finished off the Spirit, so had he got that purchased a little bit earlier, would have definitely been able to absorb more damage and maybe find that small marginal window to sneak into safety.
Certainly is possible. And well, with the Pyromancer going down, Mousesports do have control of this area. Still 5-on-4 for the next 30 seconds, so Mouse might be able to make good use of that time. Fire Giant being pulled right now, but ever so slightly. Kind of looking for the obey initiation. There's the pluck onto the dog. Xaliea going to walk away.
No hard commit. I'm surprised that Mousesports just don't hard commit off the pluck. It's a 5-on-4. iRaffer's respawning in 5 seconds.
It was the weird positioning. If the pluck comes, I think, directly into that Fire Giant pit,
okay,
I think we see the collapse. But I think what happened was Nika just goes, I got him, I got him, I got him. And the angle wasn't there. And it was just, he was amped to get the pluck, but he threw him into a wall. And Mouse was like, well, they probably cursed at him in French, but Mouse was like, we can't do anything. What do you want us to do?
They drop at their baguettes.
You said that with a fake Italian accent, actually.
They drop their baguettes.
You're still the
That's what I'm saying. They couldn't follow up, so because they were dropping everything along the way with that wall clip.
You're dropping the accent. I mean, because you've got the, did somebody touch my spaghetti? You've got that one, which Mousesports, you know, there's no Italians on that team. The only Italian we had, oh man, I forget who it was.
It must not have mattered.
It's going to drive me crazy, actually.
I'll tell you after.
No, I know who you're thinking of, but it's a different person. I can't remember, actually. Either way, what I can remember is that we're in the middle of a ball game. 8-7. Mousesports seem to have the wind in their sails. They seem like they have the momentum because iRaffer keeps getting caught out here. Oh, the Fear no Evil comes out to save the life of the support player on Obey Alliance. PrettyPriMe pops his ultimate as well. Here comes the big drum. Way after the fact.
Yeah. Not the range that he was really looking for.
He's got the range.
Not there, he didn't.
Nobody had the range there, totally.
Yeah, Chiron had the range there.
Oh,
Chiron's ultimate is way longer than Ataraxia's ultimate.
Fair. That's actually very true. It was very true. Either way, Mousesports come up big. They're not able to kill iRaffer, but Obey Alliance spent so many resources trying to protect iRaffer that Mouse are actually going to, again, flirt with the Fire Giant. I think this is more of a fake, and I disagree. I think they should just go for it.
I don't know if they can.
And they just changed it.
They're going to try to do something here.
They just changed it.
Dardez just took a lot of damage from this objective. It's 5 versus 4.5.
Yeah, and iRaffer going to notice that. Jump right on in. There's the pluck, and it comes at the same time as the pull from Xaliea. There's the turnaround, however. BigManTingz going to find the ultimate on top and pop Xaliea. There's going to be the continuation as Nika drops the ultimate. Mousesports still have 5. Obey have 4. Trying to fight around the objective.
Shards.
And up to the sky goes the Nuwa. Coming right on down. Nika's still alive, but barely. Dardez still alive, but barely.
They did kill Xaliea, but with those two members being so low, they have to back. Still going to be a 4-on-3 window for Obey Alliance to hold on to this objective. With them coming back from the fountain of Mousesports, they're still going to eliminate about 15 to 20 seconds of this respawn timer. So as long as Obey can hold for a little bit, Cerberus can easily still get back in the thick of things with that tier 3 upgraded teleport.
We're seeing the rush out of base here, at least from Nika and Cherryo. Dardez in the middle lane, not really interested. And yeah, I think the major problem was there, you mentioned it, was the fact that Mousesports, again, hesitation leads to devastation. Mousesports wanted to look for the bait, and so they pulled it, and Dardez was just kind of fake tanking it.
Yeah.
And then about 4 seconds later, they said, wait a second. Let's just do it. If they had planned to go for the Fire Giant from the second they actually pulled it, Tolly, I think we see a much different engagement.
It's very possible here. Xaliea has revived, teleported back into the bottom side of the Fire Giant. Wrapping around now as iRaffer gets spotted out by Nika. He's making the communication happen. The rest of Mouse was thinking about turning on him, but Nika's holding on to that pluck.
Yeah. Wants to make sure he has it available. iRaffer not going to be served up here. Ping's coming out onto Cherryo. So that Obey knows where the Circuit is lurking, because we've seen a couple of kills already. 5-2-1 on the Egyptian jungler, and he's already been ambushing players. No pun intended. Just hiding behind these rocks, and just as soon as somebody steps out from the side, tossing the shurikens and getting the taunt.
Cobra's Kiss is very annoying around those corners. There's so many nooks and crannies that you can really wait around. Same thing can be said about CaptainTwig with that Fear No Evil. iRaffer, though, he wants to go in.
And he's going to do just that. Nika's cut down to about 40% HP. Here comes Fear No Evil as well. Huge ultimate coming out from the doggo. Jermain a little bit too late. And PrettyPriMe takes out 2 from the sky. Jermain falls down, as does BigManTingz. Give that man 3. PrettyPriMe on patrol. CaptainTwig can't catch up to Dardez. Circuit escaping on the right side. Obey lines are pretty low, but they've taken it out enough in the competition. They feel healthy going into this one. Cherryo can cause a problem. That's why iRaffer's following him around.
And he wants to communicate where he is exactly so that Obey can respond just like that. Do the damage onto the Circuit. Don't allow her to sneak in with that ambush or the Deathbane.
Has Blink.
Still available. He could try to steal
Blink,
it.
going for it. Obey Alliance take care of business, and Cherryo along the way. Ataraxia accidentally kills the jungler. Still behind that play on Cherryo's part. Your teammates are dead. The Fire Giant's going down no matter what. Throw your body into it. He's dead for 60 seconds. But guess what? Obey of this Fire Giant. They're going to push up waves, look for towers that your team's not going to contest anyway. The next 60 seconds, we don't need you, Cherryo. Whereas if he goes in and gets lucky and steals it, the impact of that is immense.
That's true. It always depends on what's the next course of action for the team going for the Fire Giant. Because if they were healthy enough with waves close to Mousesports' side of the Tier 2 towers, then you can easily see Obey not back into base, going straight for a Phoenix, but not in this case.
Exactly.
Not when they were that low.
Exactly, and that's why I like the play from Cherryo. Had the players been healthy, I would have said back up and play defense on your Phoenix. But there was no chance they go without backing up to base. Cherryo's up in 10 seconds. Tier 2 tower's not something you're defending anyway. Cherryo literally missed nothing for giving his life up at that Fire Giant.
I mean, he just now respawns. iRaffer starting the engagement off. Nika gonna get bullied down to half health here. So yet again, not a technical or not a real disadvantage, but Nika going back to the fountain buys like about a 5 to 10 second window for Obey to go in here.
iRaffer gonna take the tower up for his teammates. His teammates not willing to go in.
Good bait.
Yeah, it's getting Nika's pluck. Nice job.
Ooh, Cherryo is going to get hit with that monkey bounce, and he gets targeted there as well. Forced to disengage.
But that ultimate, I'm not sure if I like that one. Dardez gets cut down. That's a team fight ultimate, totally. They're going to need that later.
They might, but Dardez barely walks away here. iRaffer is thanking his lucky stars as he walks with his tail between his legs. There, Obey unsuccessful with getting the Fire Giant. Definitely should be looking at these Tier 2 towers instead, but granted, they're already full build here, Tom.
Yeah, not really interested in the gold whatsoever. And yeah, no, I think I'd point that one just to a poor Fear No Evil. CaptainTwig could have made much better use of that ultimate. I get that he was trying to solo out that character, but I think the teamfight application is much better.
Didn't even force the beats there. Mad Guy's Cloak was available out of Cherryo. Needs to be more calculating with that Fear No Evil for next time. There needs to be like very small margin of error to successfully get a Phoenix in Season 5.
Yeah, for sure. This has not been a good Hunt Bats game for CaptainTwig, to be honest. Slash line 1, 3, and 6 looks totally fine. Amount of damage he's been able to bring, 4th overall, looks totally fine. But the Fear No Evils have not been impactful. And Mousesports has been able to hang, I'm not going to say exclusively off of that totally, but I think the missed ultimates, or even the ultimates that do hit but wind up being the wrong decision in my eyes, I think that's ultimately what's allowing Mouse to keep this so competitive, is the fact that Fear No Evil isn't having the impact that he usually does.
It's definitely still fixable here, even within game number 1 of the best of 3 set. You got the Stitching Torment on one side from Xaliea, and if CaptainTwig can just be slightly more patient and methodical about not only the positioning of his ultimate, but the timing, that could go a long way for Obey Alliance to close out the game. They have Fire Giant still for 30 more seconds as they siege down the dual lane Phoenix.
And the left side, furthest from the Fire Giant, always the smart one. iRaffer taking up the big boy. The rest of the team having trouble getting in here. Ataraxia shows up. Keep in mind, no Hunter means that these structures will be harder to take care of. CaptainTwig not exactly adept on the jungler either. Meanwhile, there's the ultimate, putting Dardez into harm's way. Fear no Evil works this time. Ataraxia takes care of Cherryo. Ataraxia is low. Dardez gets jumped on. Xaliea, PrettyPriMe take out 3. And now Nika and Jermain, the only members left to play defense.
Trying to run away, Jermain will, for the time being, it's a 2-on-5, but Xaliea and Ataraxia, even including iRaffer, very low. Nika trying to get off some damage here onto the weakened support. Jermain right beside him, but not going to want to overextend too far. Not having the vision in your jungle means you just got to stick to playing defense. Fire Giants faded away from Obey Alliance. They're going to set up for the next one, which is going to be the enhanced one in 30 seconds.
Trouble breaking through these Phoenixes without a Hunter. Really, really tough. Now you're seeing the bad side of replacing the Hunter with the Mage. And you've got to hunt bets. Not a character that excels well at taking care of the Phoenix, the towers, Phoenixes. If you have a Mercury in the jungle or a Kali or a character like that, I'm a little bit more forgiving of foregoing the Hunter, but this is where this composition really bites you in the butt.
It's all about how Obey can find the picks before they siege Phoenixes. In a straight up 5-on-5, even if they have, you know, a crazy amount of gold, but it's late game and everyone's level 20 anyway, you can't siege like a brute, right? You have to be methodical about it. That's why Xaliea went in first, and then CaptainTwig waited about 4 or 5 seconds until he made that secondary engagement. That's why Cherryo fell very quickly. He didn't have his Mag-Eye's Cloak available to him, and I think that he was a little bit too slow on the mark for the purification beats.
Yeah, Cherryo just got taken advantage of there, I think. A little bit too slow on that come up. 15-8 so far, 46 minutes in. Obey Alliance picking one of these very slow compositions, the slow burn of the late game mages. You basically, when you replace your Hunter, you basically say we're not, because you can't fight and clear. A lot of times we'll see these teams look for the team fights, and at the Phoenix specifically, the Hunter will just stick on the tower, and everybody else goes for the fight. You can't do that, so it takes you longer to find the victory.
In this kind of composition, when you're knocking on the Phoenix doors for so long, such as Obey is doing, it's not a bad idea for somebody to pick up Talisman of Energy. Try and increase their movement speed, their attack speed, even attack speed on iRaffer when he's transformed. Will help them out quite a bit here.
Right side, our junglers in the mid. Pinged out, because there is a ward there from the enemy.
CaptainTwig doing what junglers need to do sometimes, is just isolate somebody away from the defending side to make it easier to siege the opposing. 4-on-4s are a lot easier than 5-on-5s, especially if you can just bait out that defending member for like even 5 seconds to defend their middle Phoenix, and then you make the blink play first before the enemy jungler can.
The problem is, I think Cherryo is better at the 1v1 than CaptainTwig, at least with character selection. There's no Hunter on the side of Obey Alliance. I think there's just a lot of issues here for Obey trying to win. Ultimate from the big dog, and Xaliea winds up looking strong here. And the damage, well, that's no problem. Nika. You're able to delete the players. You don't need to break through their siege defense.
Uh-oh, CaptainTwig bit off more than he could chew, but no, Cherryo will not engage there. He really wants to go back to defend the Titan, as he should. Even fearful for his own life, CaptainTwig used that blink very late and defensively. Survives for the moment. And I think that's why Obey just don't straight up win right here.
Possibly, sure. Jermain able to take care of iRaffer. Xaliea in trouble, surrounded by Mouse jerseys. He'll be able to walk away.
If Nika dies to the fire shards, I think Obey Alliance just win.
Yeah.
CaptainTwig, though, getting some regen from the Fire Giant here. Still around their waist for another minute and a half. Left side Phoenix due to respawn here with a 4-on-4 advantage. The Fire Giant side, Obey, looking to position themselves around it. And we'll get it.
Already starting to look for it here. CaptainTwig going to jump away. No damage on the Phoenix
He
whatsoever.
wasn't in the melee range, but they will still secure it for themselves. Cherryo trying to get in the thick of things, but beautiful fire shards from PrettyPriMe, granting him that CC immunity just in the nick of time.
Also going to chase out the ultimate from Xaliea, and BigManTingz punishes CaptainTwig.
Red like a buck, unruly magic doing the work there. Cherryo trying to follow up from that golden apple, but not wanting to commit too hard there, even having last breath. I'm surprised they didn't commit to the doggo.
Yeah. It almost looked like Cherryo was trying to avoid the
Ghastly
distorted
breath.
apple open burst, even though he was on the other team.
You think he juked himself out?
I don't want to say that, but yeah.
I mean, he could have been anticipating the paralyzing spit also.
That's a big deal.
That does a lot of damage. Not the easiest ability to land, but in the the SPL, these players practice so much that they could basically do it in their sleep.
Xaliea had tried to chase, or Xaliea had deployed it, trying to chase the player down, trying to figure out if Cherryo was there to see it used or not. But in any event, Obey Alliance able to break through a left Phoenix and a right Phoenix, but that's it. Fire Giant gone from them now.
This is like Obey Alliance trying to cut down a tree in very small steps.
This is like Obey Alliance trying to cut down a tree with a pocket knife. They just don't have the tools to really do it. They have the tools. Now here's the deal. They have the tools to knock out the security and break through the gate to get to the tree they're trying to cut down, but they don't have the tools to actually cut the tree down. The goal is to take care of all the cameras and security so that they can sit there for 3 hours sawing away with their Swiss Army knife.
Tom, what is it with you and security?
I thought it was pretty cut and dry. Because that's what this whole composition is. This whole composition can get objectives as long as nobody's bothering them. So if they kill everybody, that's the whole plan. Is, yeah, we don't have structure damage, we don't have objective damage, but if we murder you,
That's the goal.
you can't respond, and
true.
we'll be able to. It doesn't matter if it takes us 12 minutes to siege a tower or a Phoenix, as long as you're dead. The goal for Obey is just to kill you first.
7-1-7 is PrettyPriMe here now with a 3K gold potion in hand. Hasn't popped it quite yet. Same can be said for Jermain there. Trying to get that damage off during the last siege. Will pop it now. Could see one great last effort from Obey Alliance here if they can find those picks. Mousesports have been doing a great job of not overcommitting past their own Phoenixes. They're giving up their Phoenixes, sure, but they're not dying for it after the fact. So Obey Alliance can't actually end here despite 52 minutes of play.
Would love to see an Emperor's Armor here from anybody on Mouse. Even if Sirket picked it up, just give me an Emp Armor.
The problem with the Emperor Armors here now is the left and right side Phoenix is weakened, so it's going to be respawning and killed almost instantly every single time, and it doesn't really work. I don't think off your Titan.
No,
So
it doesn't.
as a result, like you're going to be playing zero Phoenixes, so Emperor Armors would be super ineffective here from Mousesports.
Was that the ult?
From Jermain, yes.
What is you doing?
He's trying to get the damage off, spread it out so that he can get off that masterful shot.
Ouch. I don't know. We'll see if it has any impact. See, look how long it takes Obey to, even with the weakened Phoenixes, Totally.
Yeah.
I think Emperor's Armor makes a difference
That's
here.
true, it could, but now going in here, Dardez trying to use the Dharmic Pillars to clear. Cherryo using the last breath to peel away, even
Oh, the
spreading!
spread! And that's going to be a big look for Mousesports. Great defensive set, chasing Obey Alliance away. And we will reset one more time. Buy the Emperor's Armor.
It would help a little bit.
They just said yeah, you are 100% correct. And if Obey Alliance didn't have this composition, I wouldn't say it. But they're having so much trouble fighting these Phoenixes, even in their weakened state, that the Emperor's Armor would be a nice look, I think.
You can't bank on them always kind of messing up though, right?
I don't think it's a mess up. I think it's conducive to the picks. I think the complete lack of tower damage is really, really hurting them here.
It's true, but they can easily still have to fight outside of the Phoenixes and the structures. So if you get caught in the jungle, Emperor's Armor, you're not going to be benefiting from that passive.
Fair.
So you want to be able to survive every single encounter, not just by your own Phoenixes.
Give me the Emperor Armor in place of the... malice from Cherryo.
Even on Sarkat, he's going to be... He might even be fighting outside the Phoenixes at times if he's looking for a flank.
Actually, yeah, that's very true. Cherryo is the one that's consistently outside of the Phoenix area. He would be the worst target for the Emperor armor.
Honestly, like, your best bet is BMT or Jermain picking that up for themselves.
Actually, yeah. Well, Jermain, I need to do the damage. BigManTingz as well. P.S. I love the Ratatouille that he selected here.
Because they're never going to fight outside the Phoenixes. They're going to be so far back. They don't want to go too close to Ataraxia or PrettyPriMe anyway. So getting the full benefit of the Emperor's armor would be the Phoenixes.
I think the dude would be Nika because he's going to be sitting there peeling.
Well,
he looks for the pluck initially and then falls back and peels for the rest of the team.
Unless he goes in with the lurking in the water. There's a lot of ifs about it here, but at the end of the day, Obey Alliance going for attempt number 9,000.
Mousesports has looked fantastic on the defense so far. iRaffer leading the charge. Cherryo on the flank. Nika already relatively low. Look at that damage he's taking from Ataraxia.
There. The shield is popped. In goes Xaliea. Dardez is forced to retreat. Jermain taking a lot of damage. He used the Aegis. Oh, but he just barely survives.
And CaptainTwig on the back line uses the ultimate, runs away, and Cherryo finds him after the fact. No kill, but Xaliea will fall down. Finally, the left side bird goes to Obey, but after Xaliea falls, so another retreat from Obey Alliance.
Trying to find the Phoenixes. They're successful, but it just takes them too many members there. 1 for 1. Not the play for Obey. Looking great for Mousesports to still hold on, but if they're going to keep losing members like this from Mousesports, they can't really ever retaliate on their own end.
That's very true. That's very, very true. And that retaliation kind of has to come. Otherwise, we're just sort of sitting here in a stalemate. Ataraxia has looked great on this Raijin. I really got to give credit to Nate. Really nice stuff here. No surprise that PrettyPriMe is good on the Nua.
Do you think that both of them just kind of like rock, paper, scissors for who would they get between the Raijin or the Nua?
I think that PrettyPriMe doesn't really care enough to put up a fight. I think he wanted to play the Raijin.
Okay.
And I think he goes, okay, I got the Raijin. Now trade it to me. And Nate goes, wait a second, and says some math that doesn't make any sense. PrettyPriMe turns off his brain and goes, okay, fine.
I could totally see
I'll play
that.
Nua.
I could totally see that. I thought you were going to say how Nate bullied him into that spot. I'm like, Nate's like
no.
He would never.
Oh, no. Nate's just like, this is why I think I should play Raijin, because of the range and all this fun stuff. And PrettyPrime's like, whatever you said, Nate, I agree. Just give me, do I get Nua or Raijin? I missed it. Obey pick up their fire giant.
Their fourth one.
Yeah, number 4 here, as we're almost an hour in. 17 to 11. Tight game.
This is like Season 2 Europe all over again.
Sure.
It's not even like they don't want to fight, because they are fighting.
Yeah, no, they are.
It's just more about like the lack of execution towards the end game. Now, Season 2 Europe definitely had the execution to end, but
it's just totally, it's just these Fear No Evils. We see what happens when the double Mage Rage comes through. When PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia are able to Mage Rage and just cross the beams, somebody dies, right? Like, every time. Every time!
You know, whether or not you're crossing the circles from Xaliea and CaptainTwig to create Venn diagram, or just crossing some streams between PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia, there needs to be a bigger execution at the end of the day. They're not focusing the same targets. People are trying to go in the backline a little bit too deep and leaving their own backline a little bit exposed and not being able to just coordinate the damage. That one time in left lane when the Phoenix respawned, CaptainTwig could have been sitting on the Phoenix in preparation to hit it, but wasn't in range.
Mid lane Phoenix, full force, by the way.
This is the strong one.
Yeah, this bird has not been taken so far.
What is that damage? Nika already less than half health from a couple of shots of Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe. Forced to retreat. Dharmic Pillars coming out. Dardez is going to get controlled here, but CaptainTwig only used Fear No Evil on one person.
Again, poor Fear No Evil. However, Mousesports do have to retreat just a little bit. Phoenix still healthy at about 40%. Mousesports Titan getting attacked, but that shouldn't be that big of a deal.
iRaffer.
There's the pluck, and it's going to be immune. iRaffer doesn't get pulled.
Wow. Great timing there. Very fortunate, actually, because that pluck enabled the Mantle of Discord passive.
Yeah.
Because that, the knock-up ultimate came after the fact.
I was sitting there.
Wow.
Totally, I knew he didn't have beads, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I thought...
Well, you wanted to.
I thought there was a bug. I was like, oh no, please don't happen.
You wanted Emperor's armor here, Tom, but it's for Obey Alliance. It's going to be iRaffer picking it up for himself, so they're trying to get a little bit of extra push when they go for these sieges.
I wonder why. Could it be the fact that they can't break the base at all because they have no tower damage? Because they didn't go a hunter and they picked Hun Bats in the jungle? And Cerberus in the solo lane?
Those are great, honestly, picks, but
In vacuums, yes.
they just can't find the right opportunities here. Great defense from Mousesports. Nika still leading the charge, eating a little bit more damage than he would have necessarily liked.
The combination of the Shaman Ring and the Spear of the Magus makes Ataraxia's follow-up so devastating. He just puts out a little bit of damage there, and then whoever's tagged...
Oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like less than 25% health, and then they have to worry about fire shards coming out of prison.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is God forbid he actually does have the ultimate, and then the follow-up from Prime. The Mage Rage is real, and they have to win these team fights, because they're not going to win the Phoenix. They have to win the fight above the Phoenix.
Cherryo in the ambush mode.
Look at what Mousesports has done here actually as a last-ditch effort, putting the wards in front of the Phoenix. Fear No Evil going to control just one or two again, and in the opposite direction. But PrettyPriMe able to take care of Cherryo. That might be the most important kill here. That's going to open up the left side. Phoenix found the kill. Obey found the player they need to take care of.
He used the ultimate on Xaliea that was right in front of every member from Obey Alliance, and during that small 1 second window, all the abilities get thrown his way.
Yep. There's going to be Xaliea getting plucked out, and Ataraxia finishing off Nika. Totally, this could be the end. Two players sitting down for Mousesports here as the mid lane Phoenix slowly falls down. Shift over to the right. iRaffer's low, Xalia's low. It's a retreat. Obey Alliance going to regroup, rethink their strategy, and try again. 61 minutes into this one, folks. We've got 30 kills. 19 belong to Obey Alliance, and 11 of them belong to Mouse. And Mouse have done a fantastic job at punishing this composition.
The late game out of Jermain, I'm really surprised that he looks at the relic selection from Obey Alliance, doesn't see Thorns, and doesn't switch his build into crit for the late game. Now, I get the fact that, yes, Chiron is ability-based in the mid-game, but when you're late game, every hunter becomes basic attack-based, where there's no Thorns or Hide of Nemeans to worry about.
Right, exactly.
That would be the hard switch that would probably get Mousesports back in the game here.
Very true. One of the things that is also keeping them there, the cameraman showed us the healing charts for a little bit. 3,000 healing from Jermain.
A little bit.
That's just the passive. It's a little bit here or there, but notice how many times we've seen the players escape with 1 or 2 HP.
It's true.
And the Chiron is a smart heal. It will heal the lowest HP player in the radius, not necessarily you, the person with the lowest HP. So when we see these guys wiggling out, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Chiron's healing like hell, but he's keeping players alive just enough.
Jermain gonna get poked out a little bit from Ataraxia, sitting about 75%. Cherryo trying to go in here, baiting out some cooldowns. Dardez is gonna drop those pillars as CaptainTwig retreats.
And there's a little bit of help from PrettyPriMe. CaptainTwig on the back line. That's a huge Fear No Evil. Mousesports are already low. That's a good move. Right side Titan going to be looked at by Obey. Down it goes.
Well, Ataraxia missing a lot of his shots from his ultimate. No ultimates from either side. Hold that thought though. iRaffer de-transforming, so he will have one at least. Trying to get into the throne room. All 3 Phoenixes are down from Mousesports. Their Titan is at the most vulnerable form.
Much easier spot for Obey to fight into. Nika's going to find a minion, and then he's going to find his own death. CaptainTwig puts number 20 on the board. Xaliea trying to escape, and he will. Chiron can't catch up. PrettyPriMe hiding in the cloud. Mousesports still playing defense. 4 players strong here. Dardez gets pinged out, but no big deal. And look at that. The teleport in from the Cerberus. Full strength one more time. All in on the Titan with the mage damage. This one should go down easy. 25%. Looking for 10. Not done just yet. Obey still trying to fight into this. Mouse playing D. That's it. Not calling it till the fat lady sings. Obey Alliance take this one home. 63.5 minutes.
Took a lot of kills also to get there, and honestly, their composition was good to an extent. We saw them find the picks every now and then, but they just couldn't siege those Phoenixes. iRaffer had to switch it up to the Emperor's armor to kind of slowly allow them through the door.
The plan was to look for the fight instead of the Phoenix, get the team fight victory, and that would open the door for them. Mouse played too good. They just weren't grouped up enough for that monkey ultimate. So I don't think CaptainTwig's getting MVP of this game.
Probably
Maybe
not.
I'm wrong, but let us know in that Mixer chat. But again, it was just good spread coming out from these guys. 63.5 minutes on the clock. Let's break it down.
Thanks a lot, Tom and Toli. Yeah, very long game there between Mouse and Obey. Obey did win. Yep. It was a hard-fought battle, but I guess that's what you get with two mages and no real, damage to towers and structures.
Yeah, who would have guessed that in a meta where everyone's saying that it's really difficult to bring down Phoenixes, they're so hard to kill, that when you don't draft the class that kills the Phoenix the best, it takes a while to do it. And the composition makes sense, right? It's the idea is, like they said, you take the fight, you poke out the enemy, they have to go back to base, and then you take the Phoenix after that. But Ataraxia had really good damage in that game, but some of the ults left a little bit to be desired. No surprise, he's a hunter player and not a mage player. PrettyPriMe did great on the Nuwa. Of course, his damage numbers are going to be astronomical in an over hour-long game with a Nuwa, especially with that build. I loved the build that he went for. But if they were to do this again, I'd want to see Ataraxia on the Nuwa, Raijin on for their Ataraxia.
Yeah, well, PrettyPriMe will be MVP for game one. No real surprise there. Was involved in most of it. 75,000 damage is the big talking point there. It's a lot of damage, but that's what you get with an ultimate that hits all 5 members guaranteed.
Also, got to give credit where it's due. Jermain cleansed a server assault that game, Hindu Man.
A whole one.
He may have done more than that. I just saw one that saved Cherryo's life.
Cool. One whole ult. That's why you're going to get the cleanse for. I do think Mouse played better here. I do think Mouse played better Smite. They were just outclassed in terms of ability from Obey, who we were hoping Obey would actually find a bit of something for themselves. Mouse is the window to try to experiment a little bit, I guess. Still something to be desired, though, if you're going to take 60 minutes against Mouse.
Yeah, not the clean, picture-perfect performance that I think Obey would have preferred, but I agree with you. This is definitely a better look for Obey and for Mouse, for that
both,
matter.
yeah.
Both teams, you could tell this was just a pretty close game. Cherryo played pretty well on the Circuit. That's a good sign for Mousesports players or fans that Cherryo can play a true assassin and play it fairly well. Nika didn't have the impact that you really love to see on that Sobek, was just continually getting blown up by this double mage composition. Really tough with how much penetration both PrettyPriMe and Raijin had. It's really, really hard to frontline in a situation.